Eager to create a global city and to punch above its weight on the world stage, Sri Lanka has reclaimed 2 square kilometres of land from the Indian Ocean to double the size of its capital. This is how Colombo is about to become one of South Asia's most formidable new centres. Each year, around 200,000 Sri Lankans, many of them highly skilled, leave the country in search of better employment opportunities. Since the end of the civil war in 2009, Sri Lanka has sought to bring jobs and talent back to its capital, driving a level of economic growth that would earn its global recognition. Positioned between the powerhouses of Dubai and Singapore, and within reach of New Delhi, Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok, Colombo's geographic context offers strong potential. In order to boost the inner centre, Port City Colombo has reclaimed 2 square kilometres of land from the sea and will add a vast new district of commercial, residential and public spaces that is set to create 80,000 new jobs. Funded and jointly developed by CHEC, a subsidiary of the China Communications Construction Company, and the local government, the project is the largest private sector development in Sri Lanka's history. The new district will have its own economic and commercial laws, making it more attractive to global multinational corporations, while its access to key shipping lanes through the Indian Ocean will further boost appeal. Built as an extension to the central business district and adjacent to the famous Gull Face Green Promenade, the port city will consist of 5 precincts, each with distinct purposes, ranging from lavish leisure and entertainment facilities on the international island to grade A office and retail space in the financial district.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome. It is Friday, and another day, another Elon tweet, as they say. Hope you guys are doing well. Man, it's got a lot of things going on. You got Bitcoin conference down in Miami. Shout out to Lisa Nestor that's holding it down for us. Hopefully we'll get some updates on what's going on down there. Overall, some great updates here this past week from Stellar. You had the major wire announcements, new savings API powered by the Stellar network, allowing people to expand their services globally and to save with interest using the Stellar USDC version of the token. So that's pretty big. More real-world use of the Stellar network is always great. And then also you had here the Protocol 17 update that happened. I want to say this was Monday and Tuesday. And this is great. The clawback feature is something that is really commonplace in the financial world. Financial institutions, there's use cases in the insurance business. You even have CEO bonus compensation and other real-world uses in which clawback features are utilized. So this is a regulatory necessity that Stellar needed to add in order to be competitive with very complicated and strategic financial instruments. And so I'm excited to see this, excited to see bonds coming on. You know that there has been sightings of Franklin Templeton that is already starting to upload bonds to the network directly. So I'm sure that this is something that they needed as well. But today we're going to be talking about Niftron. As you saw in the video earlier, Sri Lanka is a place that a lot of people may not be talking about, but it is really strategically located close to Singapore. You have the rest of Asia and also not far from Africa. And so they are positioned to really be a huge benefactor to the ever-expanding blockchain and financial and overall tech market as the world continues to expand. So I'm really excited to have him on. Shout out to my man Emir here, who's checking in. Glad to see you. Man, he is doing a great job over in Stellar Global. We got some really big announcements that are going to be coming up soon to share with everybody. And so I will wait for Emir to so we can go ahead and start sharing the good news of what we've been working on. But before I bring on Sharmilan, who is the CEO and co-founder of Niftron, let me go ahead and play a very quick intro and overview to catch everybody up in the Stellar family that may not be familiar of what they've been doing.
Hi, I'm Sharmilan co-founder and CEO of Niftron. The most expensive thing in the world is trust. It can take years to build trust with applications, products, or individuals, and just a matter of seconds to lose it. We believe building an instant and consistent trust between applications, products, or individuals will create more business opportunities as well as allow people to interact in a more secure and carefree manner with accountability. Blockchain is the perfect technology to reinvent the trust in this current era. And we intend to make a product that will make blockchain more simple and affordable for businesses and organizations. So we made Niftron. Niftron is a blockchain as a service platform that will allow businesses, organizations, and startups to integrate blockchain with their products and projects easily and cost effectively to improve the trust by providing transparency, ownership, and security. Thank you.
Everybody, please welcome Sharmilan, the co-founder and CEO of Niftron. My friend, man, how are you doing today?
Hi Sam, hi. I'm doing fine. So hope you are doing well as well. And
Yes.
ideally we are under lockdown, so last couple of weeks and continuing for the next couple of weeks as well. But I mean we are safe and doing things well. Yeah.
Great, great, great. Well, you know what? I mean, me and you had a chance to meet at Meridian 2020. But tell everybody out here a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I was based in Sri Lanka as you mentioned at the start. So born and brought up in Sri Lanka and did my software engineering degrees in 2016 and did a master's as well. And then in between that, I heard a word about blockchain and then kind of got inspired by blockchain and then started learning more and then continued to do more services based on blockchain. So kind of started as developing some as a blockchain developer, build some blockchain applications for clients and then continued to that and then started consulting some companies in Sri Lanka as well as outside. And now doing a startup called Niftron. So we co-founded and working on that to help more and more industries and businesses to move to blockchain. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you have a pretty famous billionaire that calls Sri Lanka their home. Isn't that true? Isn't there a famous billionaire that calls Sri Lanka their home?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Shamath, man. Shout out to Shamath. Hopefully,
Yes,
maybe
exactly.
he'll get a he'll get a view of this video and see what his fellow countrymen are doing. Now you're a little I would say humble, man. You have really truly been engulfed in the blockchain scene for over 5 years. What really got you fascinated about blockchain?
Okay, so I mean, it's maybe weird, but the first time I got into blockchain is not because of crypto. So many people, maybe you interview, like most of the people may say that they first heard about crypto and then jumped into blockchain, but for me, it's kind of reverse. So I mean, I think that is one of the good things because I started as a software engineer, so it's easy for me to learn more technical side of blockchain. So that is one of the reasons I started into that side. And I think many people would say this, like, I mean, if you started blockchain and if you start to learn more and more about blockchain, it's kind of something that you can take out from your head. It's like it's stick with you for a
Mm-hmm.
while, and then like it's motivated you and it's inspire you to learn more. So that is what happened exactly to me as well. So I started learning more and more about blockchain, and especially more focused on the actual reason why we want to use blockchain or actual purpose of blockchain. So what I believe is, like as I mentioned in that earlier video as well, like blockchain is something that technology that we can use to reinvent the trust. So
Mm.
trust is what from my side, like trust is something an industry that we never reinvented for so long period of time. So we change the way we watch movies, we change the way we buy products, we change the way we travel. But trust is something that we never reinvented. So it's always attached with something like a middleman or a third party, and then we build the trust on top of that. So blockchain is
Right,
something
right.
that can totally change the world from that. That you can bring a simple technology, and then you can reinvent the whole way that we trust each other. So I think that is one of the good thing for future as well. Like, I mean, as we are expanding to, I mean, those days we were living in a particular country, but then nowadays we are just moving towards different parts of the world and all. So if we have something that we can trust anyone at an instant manner, so some base of trust, so not everything, but some level of trust that we can build. So that is something cool, yeah.
That's
So that is
awesome.
what
That's awesome.
inspired me to do blockchain.
No, that's great, man. And actually, man, you know, it is always great. You know, round of applause to see someone that got into blockchain, not for just the crypto speculative side of it, but for the development side. And quite frankly, from what I'm hearing from people down, especially in Miami at the Bitcoin conference that's going on, is that's a lot of the conversation that's happening. So I think you're ahead of the game. Now, you organized the Colombo blockchain meetup. This has been something that's been great. You've been a huge advocate in the space. You've been conducted over 50 speeches and sessions at various universities and conferences. So, you know, what can you share about the Colombo blockchain meetup and some of the excitement happening around the Sri Lanka blockchain scene?
Sure. So we actually started this in way back in 2017. So
Oh,
end of
okay.
2017-18 period. So at that time, it's pretty much a handful of people who are doing blockchain in Sri Lanka. So I mean, who are into the blockchain developments, and also we were like kind of gathered as multiple companies joined together, like maybe basically like multiple individuals joined together, and I mean, it started as a small. So we just want to meet at a place like once in a month, or once in a twice in a month or something, and then just
Mm-hmm.
discuss about like what we are doing and what's happening outside. So then we saw like a bit of interest from other people as well. Like they started joining the meetups and they want to learn more. So we started to do more and more meetups, and then whenever like we can get speakers who are coming out of Sri Lanka to Sri Lanka. So I mean, as you know, like Sri Lanka is more famous for tourists. So many people from western part of the world, like they come to Sri Lanka. So we just find some blockchain people who are into blockchain, and then we ask them to come and do sessions and all. So it started like that, and then the one of the interesting thing is, as we started small, but then the last year we organized a Colombo Blockchain Summit. So that is one of the breaking things for us, because we organized a conference and we got multiple speakers. So almost like we got speakers from 9 different countries. So such as even a couple of people from Stellar and Nick Spanos, and a couple of people from Hyperledger. So we got multiple people, and it went well as well. So those are the things that I think we need to do it in countries like Sri Lanka to educate more people into blockchain, as well as kind of seeding that initial inspiration or spark. So that will be take them to different places, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, man, you're being real humble, man. You are really doing a lot of great work, a lot of great work. Man, people already asking, will this be recorded? Absolutely, absolutely. This will be recorded, so I hope that this spreads around, because what Sharmilan is doing in Sri Lanka, and just learning about the entire scene, is extremely inspiring. Now, the services industry accounted for over 58% of Sri Lanka's economy, dating back, I think the last notes I had was 2019. But as the video showed, and kind of as you're talking about, is that there's a direct effort from a governmental level and from a grassroots level to make Sri Lanka a financial hub by 2025. So what are you seeing out there, and what can you share about the entire economic landscape in Sri Lanka?
I think your video perfectly explained that. Like mostly, like in past, Sri Lanka is mostly not known for technology, but then we are more like exporters of engineers. I would say, like there are plenty of
Mm-hmm.
engineers and technology-based people. Like they grew up in Sri Lanka, they studied, and then they go outside, and then they work in multiple high-level enterprises, like such as Google, Microsoft, and all. But we never had any technology based products or any enterprises comes out of Sri Lanka. So that is very rare. So we are seeing that recently. So there are more startups coming into the scene, and like there are many people like even the people who are like finished graduates or people who have worked for a period of time, they are now moving to the startups, and they're building their own products and in the technology side. as well as your video shown that the port city. So that is one of the huge development that is happening in Sri Lanka so far, and I think compared to the past, that is the major development that is going here. So that is one of the things will bring more foreign investments into the country, as well as it will be improve more exposure for the Sri Lanka to outside world as well. So as a startup, so as a companies, it will give more exposure and direct connections with these people. So that is one of the things we can directly witness that's happening in Sri Lanka.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that kind of goes into Niftron. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Niftron?
Sure. So Niftron is a blockchain as a service company. So you, as you all know, like I mean, most of the people who are watching this, you are into the blockchain, or I actually had heard about blockchain. So what we seen in Sri Lanka, as well as most of the countries that we consulted, like people usually wants to do blockchain, but then they do some POCs or MVP like products. But then when they want to do actual production level applications, so that's something that the people can use it. It takes a long period of time, and it takes a long time and effort from the developers as well, because blockchain is booming, but when you take the blockchain resources as developers or architects is very less. So it's very difficult for these companies to build it. So we made Niftron as a service platforms that you can get it in your software. It's basically software development kits that you can get from your familiarized languages, and you can integrate with the applications and simply move towards or transform your blockchain visions comes true. So we are using Stellar for that as a base blockchain. So our platform built it on top of Stellar. And apart from that, on top of that, it basically goes as a blockchain agnostic. So you can connect to multiple other blockchains out there as well. And almost like when I started to doing blockchain, even for me, it's pretty difficult to explain people that about blockchain and the legal issues and uh, the structural ways, and because you can't do blockchain the same as how you're doing other applications. So you need to know something about economic sides, and you need to know something about security sides. So everything is mixed together, so it's very difficult for a person to learn everything. So we made Niftron in a way you don't need to learn everything, so we put everything into a structural way. So anyone who comes without having this knowledge, it's easy for them to build a blockchain applications in a more correct way. So that is what we basically want to achieve. So let everyone to build blockchain in the right way.
Nice, 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 nice. So what you're saying, the company was created to bridge the existing, I guess, lack of client side blockchain expertise. What are an example of some of the clients that you guys have found yourself well suited for?
So we were like actually we were like started these in 2020, early 2020, and we like almost completed a 1 year. And so throughout this period, like we will work with multiple clients. So one of the clients is based in Sri Lanka, that they were like doing blockchain based certificates and documents verifications. So the best part for us is it's not about the use case that they try, but what inspired us is they come to us without having a prior blockchain knowledge. So they knows like what is blockchain and what it can do, but they don't have that technical capability to go and build that one. So the SDK or Niftron that helped them to do it in 3 weeks. So which is kind of inspired us, because someone who don't know blockchain in a development perspective, they can build some startups based on that. So that is one of the things inspired us. And similar like that, recently the first crypto-based project that launched from Sri Lanka. So it's a project called Exit, which is also connected with Niftron to tokenize their domain names. So they're tokenizing the domain names as NFTs. It's based on Stellar as well. So that is one of the things that we have tried, and we are seeing that it's more and more Sri Lankan startups that we're helping, or Sri Lankan companies that we're helping to move to blockchain. And we got some expansions outside as well, like a couple of other countries like Japan, New Zealand, and Singapore projects also integrated with us. So yeah, those are the main learnings for us based on what we've seen so far.
Wow, 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 wow. I mean, that's a lot of growth, man, in a very short period of time. That's exciting. Talking about growth, you guys recently raised over RS 20 million from the Angel Fund. So give us a little background on that, because I do know here that the significance of this achievement, because you guys were maybe one of the first to attract investors outside of Sri Lanka. So you got Singapore, the UK, the United States. I mean, tell us a little bit about the Angel Fund and how'd you guys, get connected with that?
So I think they shortlisted around more than around close to 100 applications that they get, and from that it's happy that we got the funding at last, as they invested on only one company at the end. So from their first cohort. So the best part is, as you mentioned, like it's not about only that we are raising this capital from Sri Lankan investors, but we able to, or we were like kind of achieved to attract multiple investors from other countries as well, like USA, Singapore, and other countries. So that is one of the achievements for us, and this is one of the first Sri Lankan companies that is getting investment in from Lankan Angel Network. So as a blockchain-based company, so
Wow.
as you know, like raising funds for blockchain-based companies in outside maybe Western countries is pretty easy. Maybe they can try out ICOs and different things, but as a software as a service, as a blockchain as a service company, coming out of Sri Lanka and getting this funding, it's an achievement for us that we can say, yeah.
No, man, that is huge, man. That is very, very huge. And so I guess since your launch, man, you guys have had some great feedback. Now, when we first met, it was back in Meridian, like I said, 2020. What was it about Stellar that attracted you the most?
So I think I started in to Stellar from 2017, end of 2017 period. So when I started, like, I mean, it's something that attracted me. Basically, the first thing is the transaction fees, because we know about Ethereum and different other blockchains where we spend more transaction fees and all. So that is one of the things that attracted me. But then when I started to learn more about Stellar and getting to into the community, so I think that time we had a community in Slack. So now we are moved to Discord, but that time we had a community in Slack. So I joined there, and I mean, I'm the one Stellar developer at that time in Sri Lanka. So it's pretty difficult for me to clear my doubt. So the community is what helped me out, and I reached many people and understand the basic things. And then when I get into more Stellar, it's something that I mean, you don't need to have smart contracts for all the applications. So that is one thing made me clear after I get into Stellar. Like, you don't need to have build smart contracts for all the blockchain applications, but it's simply as you can use services, or the user can use the operations that are built in Stellar, and you can do a micro transaction based application. So it's mostly at that time focused for micro transaction for money and assets. But in 2018, when I work in a one company, so we tried out a supply chain in Stellar. So basically a farm to shelf organic product traceability in Stellar. So that is also easily mapped to micro transactions, because we are getting thousands of transactions per day about the products and manufacturing. So you can easily
Wow.
map that into Stellar, and you can simply tokenize the vegetables and products based on assets. So tokenization is also another thing that people knows from Ethereum and different other blockchains as a starting. But by default, Stellar is based on asset, right? So you can tokenize whatever you want, and you can start it doing that. So that are things that initially inspired me into Stellar, or attracted me into Stellar, and then once you get into that, like, I mean, you can see plenty of opportunities that we can do on top of Stellar.
No, that's great. That's great. So you hear that, folks? Tokenization, a strong selling point. A strong selling point for people to utilize the network. One thing that when we talked quite a few times. You shared that you see a lot of potential for the Stellar community, the Stellar Development Foundation to really seize, in your region. What kind of excitement around the protocol are you seeing, and why do you think that is?
So basically, like, I mean, two reasons are there. So one thing is, like, people who wants to move to blockchain, sometimes they are a bit more skeptical to move because of these transaction fees and different things. So even though we have multiple side chains and things are coming out, so this is one of the attracting points for them to move to blockchain one side. But the other
Mm-hmm.
side is, if you take the two technical or two advancements of the Stellar, the microtransactions and the cross-border payments. So those are the things that we can really potentially we can use it in countries like Sri Lanka or the Southeast Asian countries. And as I mentioned, most of the Asian countries or most of the use cases that we are trying in these countries are mostly based on microtransactions. So that is, even though it's a supply chain or a different kind of applications like exporting imports or logistics or healthcare, whatever application that you're trying here, it's always depends on the microtransactions. And that is one of the things will attract Stellar into this, because as I can see in Sri Lanka, like if you take like 70 to 80% of the project that are built based on Stellar. So you can see that compared to all the other blockchains in Sri Lanka itself, we have built it more on Stellar based applications. So those are the key points as far as I see.
Wow, so you hear that? If you got all my friends over at SDF, there's a lot of people starting to build in Sri Lanka. So that is, I mean, that's great, and it makes sense. I know that when I was doing some research, they mentioned that a lot of the workforce are going to the neighboring Asian countries to work, and so I could imagine, the increase in payment systems to be able to send and pay bills, remotely could have a huge impact in the livelihoods of the people of Sri Lanka. So you make a real
Exactly.
valid
And,
point. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I just want to add one more thing. Like in what we see, it is like I mean, apart from the developments or applications, Stella is something that it's easy for the clients to use it as well. Because if you take the Asian countries or the Southeast Asian countries, it's totally contrast from the Western part of the world, because people, most of the people, like 90% of the users, when you're building large scale applications, they are first time hearing about blockchain. So they don't know how to use private keys. They don't know, they can't even reset private keys. We face some issues like that, because when we build a first application and we put it out to people, most of the users comes after us in like 2 3 weeks how to reset the private keys. So that kind of the level of understanding the people having on top of the blockchain, or any kind of a blockchain. So that is pretty difficult to build, because you have to tackle more than the token economics or security or legal aspects. You have to tackle this kind of a user friendliness as well. So that is one of the aspects we highly value in Niftron. So to build it that anyone can use it. That is a person who don't know blockchain towards a blockchain expert who knows everything about blockchain. So that is one of the things that we try. And when you are building applications like that on Stellar, it's helped people to easily understand that, because when I'm doing sessions also, I mostly do using Stellar, and it's easy for them to go to laboratory and see these things and get experience with that than going to much more complexities and code level things. So that is one of the reasons also I feel like Stellar is more potential in the countries like Southeast Asia and South Asia.
Oh man, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Hopefully Danelle hears that, because I know that in the times that I've spoken with her, Danelle Dixon, for those who don't know, she's the CEO of the Stellar Development Foundation. But she talked about the importance of ease of use, and that was something from day one that she really put a platform on. And so it's good to hear that this kind of focus is making a difference. From what you're seeing on the ground level. So, what are some of the goals? I mean, we're about to go into the second half of the year. Your first half started off very exciting. What are some of the plans that we can expect for Niftron going into the end of the year?
So currently, we are more focusing on doing multiple pilots in terms of different industries in Sri Lanka. So as it's a service platform, so we have tried something in supply chain side, documents management, and even loyalty, gift cards, so different industries. So we are currently working a couple of things into more like use cases based into the banking, finance sectors. So we are working on those things, as well as currently the strategy is more towards expanding outside Sri Lanka, and we have got a couple of service integrators from Japan, Singapore, and New Zealand as well. So they are using Niftron as a blockchain kit for their clients. So these companies, they are getting Niftron as a kit, and then they are building their client blockchain applications through that. So that is one of the areas that we are targeting, and more towards expansion is one of the goals for us, as well as trying out different KPIs based on our KPIs based on the bankings and finance sectors as well.
Nice, 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 man. This is really great. What is the best way for people, for businesses that are maybe listening to get this video and want to get in contact with you guys? What is the best way?
Sure, you can reach me through email, or else you can reach me through LinkedIn, or else you can reach me through the Twitter as well. So those are the three mediums that you can easily reach me. So I think we can share the emails and things with you, or else you can directly go to the Niftron website and you can reach me out as well. My contact details will be there. So those are the easiest ways that people can reach me out. Yeah.
And Niftron, is it just niftron.com?
Exactly. Yeah. Niftron.com. Yeah.
Very simple, very simple. And I've tagged him on my Twitter, and I'll make sure to upload some of this stuff on Twitter as well, so that way everyone can make sure they can get in contact, especially if you're trying to get out in that area. And Shamath, if you're listening, man, come give your boy a call over here, man. Sri Lanka is really jumping forward in the blockchain space. Very exciting times. Well, Sharmilan, thank you so much. I want you to hang on tight. Everybody for tuning in, I want to thank you. Make sure to share, post, and spread the word. And if you're out there in Sri Lanka and you're building, make sure to get in contact with us. I love to make sure to connect you guys and keep that synergy going. That's all for now. We will see you guys around the corner. Take care.